hearing you talk just reminds me, during Hurricane Michael, right? And that was Florida, Fort Lauderdale. For anybody that's listening, so I went down during Hurricane Michael, Panama City, that area. Obviously, that was significant damage all along that area. Just homes were just completely wiped out. And on my side, obviously, insurance companies are going to send out independents like myself, which could vary from people more like me with a ton of experience that have done large losses out the ass and just whatever. But then also different vendors that are going to be contracted out by the insurance company. They're going to send out other people that are just sitting around at home somewhere hundreds, thousand miles away that don't have very much experience, that are just looking to break into the business. And here they are thinking that they're going to go down to Panhandle, Florida, get a place by the beach and just replace roofs, and if they're off by a couple $1,000s, whatever, they'll figure it out later. Then they find out that they're rebuilding houses. And I found myself in a position where I'm going out and looking at these houses that the roof's been ripped off. Rain has just dumped inside of it. You're literally, with exception to maybe like the siding and the framing, you're replacing everything in this house. And adjusters are going out there writing up, on like a 1,500, 2,000 square foot house, like a $50,000 estimate. Realistically, just enough to fix up a nice kitchen. And that's all that they're getting. And they're getting paid handsomely for it. Not so much because they're undervaluing the claim itself, but because they're just throwing 50,000 at it, getting paid on that 50,000, and then moving on to the next one where they're going to rinse and repeat, and they're going to do really well over the course of a month. And then I found myself in a position where I'm going in and I'm checking out these houses. I'm like, holy shit. They've prevented the policyholder from receiving $100,000 worth of repairs. And if you've got a contractor that wants 50% down, I hope you have a nest egg somewhere while your insurance company figures out whether or not their field adjuster has the intelligence to actually handle this claim or not. And that didn't just happen on one or two houses that I seen. This was literally all of them. It was insanity to me. How often do you run into like large losses like that are just like ridiculous, that just like blow your mind that somebody let it get to that point? Because the shocking thing to me is that there would be another adjuster involved. Everything would get documented. Everything's photographed. Then somebody's going to review that. Then that's going to get kicked up to some other file examiner on the carrier's level. It's a large loss. Then somebody else is going to take a look at that. Then they're going to process payment, send it in. Then it comes back up. They take another look at it. They send it to, and it's just like, there's so many people involved and no one seems to have enough foresight to say, hey, this doesn't look right. So kind of,
And you've got, I mean, so there's obviously, and I know it's not really a conflict of interest, but I always think there's some conflict of interest when the person that's paying the adjuster to go out there is the person that wants the least amount possible in that estimate, right? Which is why you have public adjusters and other people that can be on the other side. So, conflict aside, there's also, I think, the people that are, so the higher ups that are looking at these adjustments of these claims are maybe looking at it through a lens of, okay, this is probably right. I'm just like running through it to make sure nothing is like glaringly wrong. Because in a cat situation, there's tons and tons of files. You get inundated. I mean, the people on the insurance side are already usually overwhelmed. Too many cases to handle anyway. So, it becomes that like, okay, this is probably fine. Nothing looks crazy. On to the next. So that's a lot ends up slipping through the cracks. People are overwhelmed. They just think, okay, this is probably fine. I don't see anything that's really standing out to me. So it could be, any of those things that is what happens when there's, large cat issues. And I remember plenty from Michael and from Sally where I was like appalled where they'd be like, okay, this is under deductible. And I was like, how on earth, people have $1,000 to $2,500, even, $700, $7,000. I'm like, you can't get anything done for that amount of money. It's just, it shocks me sometimes.